quite unknown. We're talking about the moment everything shifts, the moment you realize you've been asleep and suddenly you are not. This is the conversation about religion, dogma, or joining anything. This is about the raw, unscripted experience of a spiritual awakening. We are calling this episode The Awakening Moment, What Triggers Spiritual Consciousness. Whether you have been through it, are going through it now, or are simply curious about what it means to wake up, this conversation is for you. So take a breath, settle in, and let's explore the threshold together. Spiritual awakening is not what most people think it is. It's not a euphoric vision on mountaintop, at least not for the most of us. It's not angels singing or suddenly understanding the secrets of the universe. For most people, awakening begins with crack, a fracture in the foundation of everything they believe to be true. It starts with a question that will not go away. Is this all there is? If you ever ask yourself that question in the middle of a perfect good life, you know that discomfort it brings. The question is the first knock on the door, or your consciousness. It arrives uninvited, yet it refuses to leave. It lingers in the quiet moments when the distractions fall away, and it demands an answer you do not yet have. Sometimes the trigger is loss, the death of someone you love. Sometimes it in the end of marriage, or the collapse of a career you built your identity upon. When the external structures fall away, you are left standing in the rubble with nothing but yourself. And for the first time, you begin to wonder who a self actually is. This is the beginning of awakening. Other times, the trigger is not loss but arrival. You finally get the thing you have been chasing for years, the promotion, the house, the relationship, and you realize it doesn't not fill the void. Nothing fills the void. And that realization is both terrifying and holy. Sometimes the triggers is illness. Your body suddenly refuses to cooperate. Mortality taps you on the shoulder and whispers that you are not here forever. The life you took for granted is revealed as a fragile and temporary. Priorities shift overnight. What mattered before suddenly matters not at all. Sometimes the trigger is birth, holding a newborn in your arms. You stare into the eyes that seems ancient and wise. You realize you're a part of something far larger than your own ambitions. A love you cannot explain floods through you, and you know, without doubt, there is more to life than what you can see. Sometimes the trigger is birth, holding a newborn in your arms. And sometimes the trigger is nature, a sunset that stabs you cold, a mountain that reduces you to silence, an ocean that reminds you of your smallness and your vastness simultaneously. In those moments, the boundary between you and the world dissolves. You are not observing beauty, you are part of it. Sometimes there's no trigger at all. You are simply driving to work or washing dishes. The veil lifts for no reason you can name. Suddenly really see that the trees are not just trees. They are alive in a way you never noticed before. You see that strangers are not strangers. They are you, wearing different faces. Their joys are your joys. Their suffering is your suffering. The illusions of separation crumbles. What the mystics call unitive consciousness dawns, and nothing can ever return to the way it was. This is the paradox. Awakening is both utterly ordinary and utterly extraordinary. It is ordinary because it's in our natural state, buried under years of conditioning. It is extraordinary because we have forgotten it so completely. We have been asleep so long that waking feels like magic, but it is not magic, it's memory. The spiritual traditions have many names for this moment. The Buddhists call the beginning's mind, seeing everything as it for the first time. The Christians call it being born again, not into religion but into awareness. The Sufis call it the opening of the heart. The Hindus call it realization. Whatever you call it, the experience is the same. It's a sudden, overwhelming recognition that you are not who you thought you were. You are not your resume, your bank account, your traumas. You are not your achievements or your failures. You are awareness itself, temporarily wearing human suit. And there is the hard truth. Once you see this, you cannot unsee it. Awakening is not a permanent high or solution to your problems. In fact, in many ways, awakening makes life harder. At least at first, because you start to see the game. You see how much the society is built on keeping problem asleep. You see now how consumption, distraction, and busyness are designed to keep you from quiet voice within. You realize that the most of the what you thought mattered does not matter at all. Your old ambitions feel hollow. Your old conversations feel empty. And you have to rebuild your life from scratch. This is why spiritual traditions warn us. Do not seek awakening unless you are ready for everything you change, because it will. Your relationships, your career, your definitions of success. Some relationships will survive, some will not. Some doors will close, others will open. onto landscapes you never imagined. You may find yourself drawn to silence where you once craved noise. You may find yourself weeping at beauty, a sunset, a piece of music, a child's laugh. These tears embrace or embarrass and heal you simultaneously. They are not sadness, they are recognition. They are your soul saying, yes, this is real. You may find that you're careless about being right and more about being kind. You may care less about winning and more about loving. You may care less about the future and more about its very moment. Priorities realign without effort. The ego's grip loosen breath by breath. And here's the most surprising thing: awakening does not make you perfect. You still and you will still get angry. You will still make mistakes. You will still forget sometimes who you really are. But now you have a compass, you have tasted something real. And no matter how far you wander, you know the way back home. So, what triggers spiritual awakening? The answer is simple: life itself. Life doing what life does, breaking us open again and again and again until we left the light. For some, it's suffering that opens the door. For others, it is a joy. For many, it's simply the accumulation of enough questions. The great teacher Ram Dass said, we are all just walking each other home. Awakening is a recognition that we are already home. We just forgot. The triggers, whatever they are simply reminders. They make us from the dream of separation, they call us back to ourselves. The loss, the illness, the midnight question, these are not punishments. They are innovation and invitations. Invitation to stop living on the surface and start living from the depth. Invitation to stop performing and start being. Invitation to come. Invitation to come home to only place you have ever truly belonged. If you're listening and feel something stirring, do not run from it. That restlessness, that curiosity, the longing you cannot name, it is the most real thing about you. It's your soul calling you awake. It is the voice you have been drowning out for years. It's time to listen. You don't need to climb a mountain to find Guru. You do not need to travel to India or sit in a cave. You simply need to pay attention, to stop, to listen, to ask, who am I? Who am I really? Is the only question that matters. Or then wait for the answer. The answer will not come in words. It will come into silence. It will not come in thoughts. It will come in presence. It will not come tomorrow. It will come now. If you are still enough to receive it, the kingdom of heavens is within you. It always has been. Awakening is not awakening you achieve. It is something you allow. It's not something you earn, it's something it's something you remember. It's not somewhere you are go. It's somewhere you return. The path is not long. It's as close as your next breath. Consider the caterpillar in its cocoon. From the outside, it looks like grass. From the inside, it's dissolution. Everything the caterpillar knew is a breaking dawn. If it could think, it would believe it was dying. But it's not dying, it is becoming. Awakening feels like dying because the old self must dissolve. The identity you built, the stories you told, the walls you constructed, they must fall. And it hurts. But on the other side is nothing. On the other side is everything you were always meant to be. The triggers of awakening are the hands that crack the cocoon. Grief cracks it, love cracks it, loss cracks it, beauty cracks it, silence cracks it. Anything that stops you long enough to ask, who am I? Who am I? The thing is your teacher. The moment is your door. You cannot force awakening any more than you can force a flower to bloom. You can only prepare the soil. You can only water what is planted. You can only create the conditions, silence, attention, honesty, and trust that the timing is not upon to you. The seed knows when to rise. Many people experience moments of awakening and then retreat. The glimpse is too bright. The freedom is too vast. They prefer the comfortable darkness to the unsettling light. And that is okay. Awakening cannot be rushed. The door remains open. You can walk out through when you are ready. But here is what awakened ones will tell you: you are ready now. Not because you are perfect, but because you are here. Not because you understand, but because you're asking. Not because you were arrived, but because you have stopped pretending you are not in a journey. That is enough. The triggers are everywhere once you start looking. A kind of word from stranger, a song that makes you cry, a dream that lingers, a coincidence that feels like more than coincidence. Life is always whispering. Awakening is learning to listen. There is a reason every spiritual tradition emphasizes stillness. In stillness, the triggers can finally reach you. In silence, the question can finally be heard you. In presence, the answer can finally arrive. You cannot hear the whisper of your soul over the noise of your life. So perhaps the greatest trigger of awakening is simply this: the decision to stop, the decision to turn off the screens and sit with yourself, the decision to stop running and start feeling, the decision to ask, who am I? And to stay for the answer. That decision is available to you right now, not next week, not next year, now. This moment, as you listen to these words, is an invitation. The door is open. The only question is whether you will walk through. The only question is whether you are ready to wake up. What triggers spiritual consciousness? Suffering triggers it. Joy triggers it. Love triggers it. Loss triggers it. Silence triggers it. You trigger it by finally paying attention, by finally taking the question seriously, but finally deciding that the life we have been living is not the only life available. There is a life waiting for you on the other side of awakening. It's not a life without pain, it's a life where pain has meaning. It's not a life without struggle, it is a life where struggle is sacred. It's not a life without questions, it's a life where questions are enough. In that life, you are not searching for something outside yourself. You're not waiting for permission or validation. You're not performing for an audience or climbing someone else's ladder. You are simply being fully, deeply, authentically being. And that is more than enough. That life is not somewhere in the distance, it is here, buried under the layers of what you thought you had been. It's here, waiting for you to stop pretending. It's here, breathing beneath the noise. It's here, and it has always been here. You're the one who left. Awakening is coming home to yourself. It is the end of the search because seeker dissolves. It is the answer for every question you were ever asked because you finally understand that you are the seeking and the one being asked. Your path to the destination, you are what you have been looking for. If you are in the middle of awakening, please know you're not alone. You're not broken. You're not losing your mind. And you are not making this up. You are waking up, and the fact that you are here, listening to this, asking these questions, means the invitation has arrived. The only question now is, will you open the door? Thank you for being here. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay curious, stay awake, and remember, the moment you are looking is already here. I'm your host, Daniel Likis, and this has been The Awakening Moment. Marty, come, people. See you soon.